Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Kim, and today's video is going to be a tutorial on how to crochet these little ghosties. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that I do have the written pattern on my Etsy shop. It's shemadeknits.etsy.com. The link will be in the description down below. So if you're someone who would rather follow along by reading the pattern and viewing photos, you can do that, or you can follow along this way. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's talk materials. So you're going to need about 9 to 10 grams of a worsted weight acrylic yarn. This can be any yarn of your choice. Next, you will need a 4mm crochet hook. Usually with a worsted weight yarn, I would use a 5mm hook, but because we're doing amigurumi, we want to make sure that our stitches are tight enough that we won't see any of the stuffing coming through. You will also need something for the eyes. So you can use safety eyes. The ones I have here are 5mm. Another option, if you don't have safety eyes, is to just use black yarn. You'll also need some stuffing or yarn ends or a mix of both. I believe you need like about a gram or two, something like that. You'll also need scissors, a darning needle, stitch markers if you'd like, but I'll let you know now we will not be working in spirals, we'll be working in rounds. And so for me, it's easy to spot where my first stitch is, but if you're used to working with stitch markers for every round, then go for it. This is optional, but a tape measure. And lastly, if you want it to be a keychain, then you'll need a key ring as well as some extra hoops. So this is everything that we are going to need for today's tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start, we need to make a magic circle, and my preferred way of doing that is having my yarn over my 2 fingers, wrapping it around and over, then taking my hook, going under, over, twisting, yarn over, and pull through. And then tighten that down. And there we go, we have our magic circle. You can take this tail and tighten it up a little bit because it can be a little difficult to place the stitches in there while it's still such a huge loop. To begin, we're going to place 8 single crochets into the circle. That's 1. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, 6, 7, and 1 more. We have 8. Now what we'll do is we will tighten up the circle. So using the tail end, pull it tight, and it should close up your circle. There we go. So as I mentioned earlier, we will not be working in spirals. We will be slip stitching into the first stitch to complete the circle. Also, you want to have your tail end of your yarn towards you. So find that first stitch. The easiest way to find it, in my opinion, if I'm having trouble, is by counting backwards from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It can be a little difficult, but just take your time. There we go. So then you're going to yarn over, pull that through, pull it through the loop, and that's your slip stitch. For now, you don't need to worry about the tail end. We are going to weave that in very soon, but for the moment, we can just keep it there. Now it's time for round 2. So we're going to chain 1, And for this round, we're going to increase in every single stitch. So we currently have 8 stitches, but we want to increase by 1 in each stitch, which will end up giving us 16 stitches total. So I'll do that with you. So we go into our first. One, and then go into the exact same stitch. That's 2. Next stitch. 3. Same stitch. And 4. Next stitch. 5. Same stitch. 6. Next stitch. 7. Same stitch. 8. Next stitch. 9. Same stitch. 10. Next stitch. 11. Same stitch. 12. Next stitch. 13. Same stitch. 14. Next stitch. 15. Same stitch. 16. So if this is your first time working in the round, you don't need to worry about this stitch right here and this one. This is our slip stitch that connected our round in round 1, and this is the chain 1. So we can kind of pretend like those guys are not there, or you can even use it as your indicator that you're at the end of the round. This is our first stitch, and this is the stitch that we will be now slip stitching into. Yarn over and pull through the loop. So that was round 2. Right now I'm actually going to stop and weave in this end, but first, before I do that, I want to chain 1. I'm going to pull the yarn up, take my hook out, and this way it's still secure, it won't go anywhere, and I'm going to weave this in. I will meet you back here when I'm done doing that. All right, I'm back. So normally after weaving in that end and securing my magic circle, I would just leave the end and not cut it. But because I want you to be able to see everything that I'm doing, that's why I cut it off. You can leave yours if you want, or cut it, whatever's easiest. Okay, so let's continue. So next up is round 3. So we have our chain 1, and the next 8 rounds are going to be the same. So round 3 to round 10 are all just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. And once you get back to your first one, you're going to connect with a slip stitch and chain 1. So if you're good with that, go ahead and skip this part. It's really just to add length. So we just did 1 and 2. We have our 16 stitches now. Now we're going to be going all the way down to 10. We are going to stop at round 8 so that we can put the eyes in. But other than that, it's just very simple 8 rounds of single crochet. All right, so let's start round 3. So you'll notice that now, since we're not increasing anymore, it's going to kind of create like a bit of a bowl. And that's how we do the top of the head. So this is where we are currently. All right, so I am going to continue until I complete round 8, and then I'll meet you back here and we can put in the eyes together. All right, so I just completed round 8, so this is what your ghosty should be looking like so far. All right, so now I'm going to put in the eyes and begin stuffing just a little bit. So I'm again going to just pull the yarn up with my hook, take my hook out, and there we go. I can freely work with it without being scared that stitches are gonna come loose. First things first, I'm gonna stretch them out just a little bit. I find it just kind of helps, especially if you have tighter tension like I do. Kind of also gives them a more ghosty look. So for the eyes, I'm going to put them in the 6th stitch and 11th stitch of the 6th row. Say that 10 times fast. So I know that this is round 8, so that was 7, and this is 6. So I'm counting 1, 2, so this is round 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to place it right there. That was 6, now 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And there we go. So another good indicator that you put them in the correct spots is that you'll have 4 stitches in between the eyes. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to secure them on the inside with the backing. Okay, my eyes are secure. And now what I'm going to do before continuing to round 10, I'm going to begin to stuff the ghost. Just going to take a little bit, push that in there and kind of push it like further away from the eyes, like behind and over top, just so there's some stuffing up there. And this way I'm making sure that I get stuffing everywhere and it's not like the eyes are keeping it from getting into every little nook and cranny. So that's what he's looking like so far. Very cute. Now we are going to continue with round 9 and round 10, and then we will meet back here so that we can begin the decreases together to close up the bottom. All right, I'm back. Round 9 and 10 are complete. So this is what my little ghosty is looking like. Yours should be looking similar. And so again, I'm going to take out my hook and I'm going to stretch them out one more time. That's good. And now I'm going to, right before I start decreasing, I'm actually just going to add in a little bit more stuffing. But don't worry, after our first round of decreases, we will complete the stuffing and then close it up. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do the decreases together. So I'm gonna put my hook back in. And here we go. So I already have my chain 1. And what we want to do is we want to get back down to 8 stitches. So we're currently at 16. We want to get down to 8. So before our second round, we wanted to get from 8 stitches to 16 stitches. So we did that by putting 2 single crochets into each stitch. And so the way we're going to decrease is by crocheting 2 stitches together 8 times. And that'll give us 8 stitches again. Okay, so you're gonna start by pulling up a loop in your first stitch, but instead of completing the single crochet as you usually would, you're going to go into your second stitch, pull up a loop as well, and now you have 3 loops on your hook. So this is just the chain 1. This is a loop from the first stitch and a loop from the second stitch. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That way we just decreased by 1 stitch. So we're going to do that again. Go into the third stitch, pull up a loop, go into the fourth stitch, pull up another loop. Now we have 3, so we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Again, stitch number 5, pull up a loop, stitch number 6, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Again, so number 7 and 8, and pull through all 3. You may have to keep stuffing in the stuffing every now and then. This is 9 and 10. 11 and 12. Stitch number 13 and 14. Yarn over and pull through all 3. And then our last 2. So at 15, pull that up. And then one more, 16. And then pull through all those. Okay. So now if you take a look, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're back down to 8 stitches. So we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch as we've been doing each round. Pull that through and chain 1. Okay, I'm going to take my hook out just for a moment. I'm going to stuff just a little bit more because if you see it's a little too squishy at the bottom. He's looking so cute though. If you're having trouble getting the stuffing in there, use the back of your hook. Actually, yeah, I think that is enough. I don't even need this part. Onto the 12th round and the last round for this section, and then we'll do the ruffles / skirt bit. So we have our chain 1 already. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to half our stitches again. So instead of 8, we want 4. So we're going to do the exact same thing and single crochet 2 stitches together 4 times. So pull up a loop from the first stitch and the second, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, third and fourth, 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th. So here we go. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna slip stitch into the first stitch. There we go. And what we're going to do now is cut the yarn. You don't need too long of a tail. And we're going to pull. We're going to pull through. So there we go. Might look a little funny for the moment, but you can just start kind of shaping him or her or they or it, whatever you want your ghosty to be. It's so cute. All right, now we are going to weave this end through the body. And the way we're going to do that is by grabbing the darning needle, threading the yarn through it, and then choosing a spot that is very close to where you ended. I'm going to go right here. Right here. And I'm going to push my needle through, kind of wiggle it around, and push it out the top somewhere. So, there we go. And pull that through. And you don't need to pull it too tight, but if you do, it's not a problem. You can go ahead and squish it back into place. And then if you want to, you can push it back through the hole and weave it around more, but I feel that this is sufficient. So I'm going to cut off the excess, take my darning needle, and just push that little bit into the body of the ghost. So here we go. Here is the first part of our little ghost complete. He's looking very cute, very ghosty. He kind of almost looks like a marshmallow. If it had more of a flat top head, oh yeah, you could definitely make marshmallows with a very similar version of this pattern. That's cute. Now we're going to grab a little bit more yarn and our hook, and we're going to create this ruffly kind of skirt, the bottom of the sheet that the ghost is wearing. I'm holding him upside down, turning to the back, and this is my seam. Like, that's where we slip stitched for each round. And so I'm just going to take a look at this real quick. Let's look at the anatomy a little bit because it is kind of important. The first round of decreases, we decreased to 8 stitches. So you should have 8 holes over here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then just right next to the slip stitches, that's 8. So to create the ruffles, we're going to take our crochet hook, we're going to put it into the first stitch next to the slip stitches, and you're going to have it come out of that hole, that first hole. There we go. Looks a little funny, but that's okay. This is exactly what we need. You can attach it however you like. I just prefer doing it this way. So you're going to pull that yarn through both. You're going to drop the tail, yarn over, pull through, and then pull tight. So we're going to start. You can either chain 2 or do a stacked double crochet. I'm going to do a stacked double crochet. So I'm going to go into the same stitch, make sure it's nice and tight first. Okay, into the same stitch and out the same hole at the bottom. Pull through it and do a regular single crochet. But like I said, we want to do double crochets. So the way I'm going to make this taller is by going through the first loop at the bottom of our single crochet. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's a stacked double crochet. So it's 2 single crochets on top of one another. Here's where it gets fun. We're going to be doing 6 double crochets into each of these bottom holes, which is 3 double crochets into each stitch up here. So let me show you. We have 1. This is 1 stitch. I'm gonna yarn over, push my hook into the exact same stitch, and come out the same bottom stitch as before. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to complete my double crochet as normal. Whoop. And then yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 2 double crochets. Now we want 1 more. Again, through the exact same stitch and out the exact same stitch. Whoop. It can be a little tough, so just take your time. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so this is my first, I guess you could call it cluster of stitches, and that was in the first stitch up here. Now we're going to do the next stitch, so this one right here. But we're not going to be changing the stitch that we come out of yet. We're going to continue through this one. Okay, so we're going to yarn over, go through the second stitch, and come out again the same spot. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we started through a different stitch, but we came out of the exact same one still. So we currently have 4 double crochets coming out of the same stitch. So for each stitch on the up top here, you're doing 3 double crochets, but for each of the stitches at the bottom here, you're doing 6, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So yarn over, we'll go through the same stitch because that was 1. Now we're going to do 2. That's our second. Now 1 more going through this stitch and this stitch. Okay, so as you can see from this side, we have 3 in here and 3 in here. But when you look at the bottom, we have 6 coming out of one hole. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. And that's going to begin to create that ruffle effect. Okay, so we're going to move on now, move on to stitch number 3. And we're going to go into the, come out of the second hole. Okay, so yarn over, 3rd stitch, coming out of the second hole. And do your double crochet as normal. Where are you? There we go. Okay, another one, same stitches. And now a 3rd one, same stitch. Sorry for the squeaking. There was a fluff. Okay, so we have our 3 double crochets here, and when we turn it, we can see that we have 3 double crochets coming out of the second hole. But we can fit 6 in here. So we're going to move on again, 1 stitch down, so number 4. Go into the 4th stitch, and come out of the same spot. So the second, come out of the same spot, the second hole there. Again, crochet as normal. That was 1. That's 2. And that's 3. So we have 3 double crochets in this one, so we're finished with this stitch. We'll be moving on to this one, the 5th stitch, and we'll check down here as well. So now we have 6 stitches coming out of this stitch, so we can now move on to the next one as well. So we have used a total of 2 of the bottom stitches, and we have used a total of 4 of the top stitches. So it's like 2 top stitches per 1 bottom stitch. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to continue. So once you've gone around completely, you're going to connect it with a slip stitch in that top stacked double crochet. There. You're going to cut your yarn. You're going to pull it out, and then use the invisible technique to weave this in. I'll show you how to do that quickly. Before that, this is the tail from where we attached our yarn to do the ruffles. So I'm just going to do what I did previously and push it through. Okay, and then push that inside. So to weave in this end and make it look like it's just continuous, you're going to take your darning needle. You're not going to put it through the first stitch, but through the second one. Right under the V. So right under both loops. Pull that through. And then you're going to take your darning needle and put it through this V right here. And push it out behind this loop. And that will create the look of another V, and so it just looks continuous. Now I'm going to just weave it through, weave it under a few of these. And then you can just push it through the body once more. Cut off the excess, and for the last time, push that in. We're just going to shape them again so you can start squishing them into place, and we're going to shape the ruffles as well. So you want to push them down and up and down. They'll kind of naturally go into place, but you can kind of form them. Okay, and there you go. There's your little ghosty. So you can just leave them like this, or you can go ahead and put a keychain through it. Up to you. You can kind of just be like a little desk buddy if you want. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that it turned out. If you did make a ghost, please send me a photo, either on Instagram or here on YouTube, wherever you want. I would love to see how it turned out. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you have any feedback or if you think I missed something, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. And just a reminder, if you want the written pattern, you can check out my Etsy. It'll be linked down below. It's shemadeknits.etsy.com. Thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful spooky season, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.